how's it going? I'm here to do your reading for the week of September 21st, which is today. Now, as usual, just start quickly with the astrology. I've done this chart for the 25th because I kind of want to show you how things move during the week. Now, one thing we need to remember is that this cluster of planets that's been traveling together since Aries season is now back in a cardinal sign. So what does that mean? That means that yes, these two guys here, Saturn and Pluto, are going to square, all of them one by one. And this is what caused us some tension over here and caused us some tension over here. So we are about to enter into the moment where these go off one at a time. Now they'll start to loosen up towards the end of next week and for the rest of the month. So you'll have a break in between each one of these squarings, but they are coming up. So just be aware of that. The other thing is there's two aspects that happen this week, which are the final passes. The first is that Jupiter and Neptune will do their last square. So this is they've met twice before. This will be a third square, and it's a meeting of ideals, beliefs, healing, new philosophies. So it's really kind of like a last pass at, has your personal ideology evolved in the manner that is most reflective of your spiritual path. Okay, so that's one last thing that's happening here. This can lead to excess. Please pay attention to drinking or indulging in anything of Piscean nature. You may be drawn towards excess. Just remember that as this is a square, it's a choice. So it will be sort of like a choice. If you are most in your Pisces, then the Jupiter will cause a problem. If you are most in your Jupiter, then the Pisces or the Neptune will cause a problem. And actually last week there was a Neptune-Mars opposition. So that may have been, if any of you maybe got drunk, it's possible that you became a belligerent drunk, and maybe, or just like this drinking would have gotten you into like a place that was over analytical, over anxious and stuff like that. So that was a moment that may have happened last week. It's past now. So yes, so last pass between Jupiter and Neptune square. The other thing that is happening is the South Node. Okay, so here's the North Node. It's on 14, and Saturn is currently on 13. Now, he's moving forward. These are continuing to move back. So they are going to meet precisely one more time. And they have been dancing together very closely since May. And have been pretty much have been exact and not exact May, June, July, beginning of August. Towards the end of August and beginning of September, we kind of got a break from this, just a teeny bit, not too much. But now that Saturn is direct, he's going to go over the South Node one more time. Now, this Saturn over the South Node and in opposition to the North Node is going to T-square all of the planets in Libra. So when this Mercury right here, it's for the 25th, so it's a little bit further. Today it's gonna go, it'll go through it, I think, on the 22nd, 23rd. So tomorrow, day after tomorrow. Mercury will be the first up at bat in this T-square between the future, letting go of a karmic past, and finding balance in thinking, of making peace, of balancing things out from whatever it was, whatever seed that got planted when all of these planets were in Aries. That's what's been going through the internal evolutionary process and is now about to go through an external evolutionary process as it comes into the world. You know, so it's like this is the ideation phase and the like interior, what do I want it to look like? What do I want it to be? Blah, blah, blah. And then this is when it comes out to the public and starts to be shaped by public opinion. So first you'll have Mercury that's gonna square Saturn and the South Node and the North Node. Now, and then you'll have Venus that does that. Now, Venus, excuse me, at the same time, the Sun moves into Libra. So that will shift up the energy on how these guys respond to those questions, right? So it's kind of like right as Saturn has to face off, or right as Mercury has to face off Saturn in the South Node and the North Node, the Sun shifts planets, which means that and moves into here. So that's like an extra dose of calming good luck, also air energy. So you'll be able to think and process things in a different way than you would here. Cardinal, so push forward. Now the other thing that's nice here is we have Jupiter, which is going to sextile all these. So even though they're going to face off in this T-square, as soon as it's over, they get, I would say, good news. You know, it's like, so it may kind of like exam day, right? Like you have to show up and give a big presentation, and you're worried about how this goes, how this meeting goes. And then a couple days afterwards, you find out from Jupiter that, okay, if it didn't go well, here's a consolation prize, or you hear that it did go well. So you may have some meetings that may feel tense, and you may find out afterwards that actually things went okay. And actually on the 25th, we also have the moon here, which will sextile those two and is in a trine to Jupiter. So actually this day here on the 25th, if you're not looking to get pregnant, be careful. Moon trine Jupiter is a very fertile aspect. The same will happen with Venus, same sort of facing off at the examination squad, kind of like, you know, where you have to go in and like talk to immigration and show that you're being honest, that you've got your papers in order, waiting for judgments. So it looks like there may be a sort of a tense moment where you're called to defend yourself, or called to present everything that you've learned in this past thing, everything that you're willing to get rid of, and where you're headed in a direction. This may be an opportunity to sort of review the past and also show your plan to move forward. Either way, 2 days after, nice aspect to Jupiter. So that will be something that's pleasant. Now, one other thing I wanted to call out is on the 28th, which was a week from today, we have the new moon in Libra. Now, if you remember correctly, the full moon in Pisces was the prophet comes down from the mountain with the New Testament. Now, listen to this Sabian for this new moon in Libra, which will be at 5 degrees, 20 minutes. So one gives it as a man watches his ideals taking a concrete form before his inner vision. The other says the ideals of a man abundantly crystallized, right? So it's like last week or last moon, we got real clarity on what our testaments are. Now with this new moon here, which will be in conjunct to the Uranus here in Taurus, which is about building things. So there's going to be, and it may be a surprise, crystallization of everything that we've been working on here, on this new development of our personal ideology and what we believe and what is spiritually most authentically unique and genuine to us. We're going to have a moment at this new moon where things become extremely crystallized. It's like, okay, that's the way forward. Or, okay, that was the piece that I was missing. So ultimately, this kind of little showdown here that happens over the course of the week, by the time we get to the end of the week, when that new moon happens, we should have a very solid idea of what the future is starting to look like or what it could look like. So there is going to be some sort of concretization here at the end of the week, which is what we will then be working on for the rest of this period, right? Because that's that Libra thing. So before we were working on our ideals, our internal processes, our internal beliefs, and now it's going to be time to crystallize those and bring those out to the world and let them take their shape and form and path with the others. All right, so let's take a look at the cards. Hey guys, here to do the Aries reading for the week of September 21st, 2019. Can I have, please, the energy for Aries, week of September 21st, 2019? What? Okay, I'm going to take this first one that filled out. Nice. Joy. Okay, so that's a good start, an enjoyable start. And you know, as I said in the astrology part of it, it looks like there's gonna be like even if things have a sort of tough face-off moment or like exam feeling moment, that after it's over, there's certainly that thing where you're like, or, you know, it's like sunflowers growing with the sun, you know, just feeling really expansive and like, look at that, what's on the inside. So that's like what's on her dress there is starting to be visible also on the outside, which is the very clear theme also in the Sabian that's coming up at the end of the week. So what's the wisdom for the week, please? Wisdom for Aries for the week of September. Okay, nice. So this is the round and round card, but it's upside down. So it means that actually we are in the process of breaking those habits, breaking the patterns that have been keeping us there. And this is very much the Saturn on the South Node. You know, he was there all summer long, like making things as difficult as possible, making our past habits as unpleasant as possible so that we would shift out of them. And this last pass that's happening in these days seems to be like we'll start to finally get some visible confirmation of the fact that we have, in fact, moved past our patterns. Oh no, sorry, that's the wrong deck. I already did that one. Let's do this one. Can I have the challenges, please? Hold on. What's the challenge for Aries this week, September 21st, 2019? What challenge, or what's the area of challenge for Aries week of September 21st, 2019? And you know what's funny is that on the date, okay, there it is, 8 of Cups. That's the challenge. Okay, so this is all very tight story. On the date that I had picked for the reading, I picked the 25th. So like I said, I think that might be the moment when we start to see that we're really starting to break free of these old patterns. And that's very exciting and really starting to move forward. So let's see what's in the cards. Although this looks pretty tight. Could be a 4-minute reading. Let's see what else comes up in the tarot. Those are the two that were there when I was shifting this. Very nice. Very, very nice. Lots of forward movement energy. Okay, yep, forward movement. Like I said this in a couple of readings ago. Now that Saturn is direct, he will allow you to inch forward. So it's not like one of those, like, finally Saturn goes direct and we're running towards our final destination. But we are now finally free to move forward, to slowly build that which we have, you know, and it's the same pentacle from the Ace of Pentacles. So from the initial idea, this is like starting to get into the carrying forward into the serious realms, right? Because it's the one Ace of Pentacles that has to go through the lower ranks, the Ace to 10. And then now the Knight is the first card that's in the higher ranks. So this is like another leveling up of that original Ace of Pentacles idea. Or Ace of, but whatever one thing was that you were trying to materialize. It's starting to move forward now that you're out of these circular habits and patterns. And look, that's repeated here in the drop. So it's like there's no circular patterns here. That's very expansive. So instead of keeping things going in concentric circles, instead of maintaining the sort of circular patterns that you've had in your life, now starting to sort of branch out into a different articulation. Can I get 2 more cards, please, for Aries for the week of September 21st? 2 more cards for the Aries for the week of September 21st, 2019. Two more cards, please. Aries, September 21st, 2019. Okay. Oh my God. So I swear to God, I was just thinking this. I was thinking, I don't know if there's any more cards that need to come out. And if the 10 of Swords comes out, what it usually means to me at the end, like if I get it at the end of a reading after I've been waiting for cards for a long time, it just means that's the end of the story. It doesn't mean there's like an end. And so I was thinking while I was shuffling, if that 10 of Swords comes out, I'm going to take it that I have enough cards on the table. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now, I had this other idea that I wanted to do, was to put, what's the question? Because it's Libra energy, so it's mental energy, but mental, thoughts, looking at things from a different perspective, looking at things from a more balanced perspective. And we have this breaking of patterns. We go from the 7 to the 8. So there's a very clear movement forward of letting go because something has ended, as this is also the end of the reading. But I wanted to offer maybe some clarity on questions we could be asking or we need to be asking ourselves right now. So I'm going to pull 3 different cards, put them face down. So you'll have a second to, no, not taking those. You'll have a second to sort of focus on which one is yours. Actually, I'll put them down, give you a second to focus on it. Read an advice card from here, and then we'll flip them over. So I'm just going to sort of fan them out. Put one here, and I'll put them, actually, I'm going to put them face down facing you so you can see them. Okay, so pick which one of these if you want to. Obviously, if you don't want to, don't. But if you want to hear which of these questions is your question, have a look there. In the meantime, I'm going to do from the Divine Energy Oracle, which is this one. Nope, that one. Take some advice for the week. So what's the advice for Aries for the week of September 21st, 2019? What advice from the Divine Energy for the week of September 21st, 2019? Rejuvenate. Okay, and that's also part of that joy. And look, that's a 7 also. So again, now I think it's important. I don't usually encourage to watch the horoscope piece at the beginning, but these cards are awesome. They tell a very clear story of having finally broken from a past, being able to let go. I know you can't see these now because that's there, but and being in a space where we're now like finally able to celebrate and see what's happening. We're finally able to move forward. As I said, the energy may be a little bit tense this week, okay? Because there is that square to Saturn. So it's nearly impossible for things not to be. And then next week, all those planets are also going to square Pluto. So it may
it may not be like a lighthearted fun week, especially since there's the rejuvenate card here. So you're going to need a moment to sort of come to, sort of like pick yourself up off the ground. However, I do believe you will start to see very clear, I'm going to move these, very clear clues, very visible clues, things that you can see. This one is like in the sky, but this one is very much in the water. So it's like you will start to see where this joy is growing, right? So you'll start to see like a flower that's blooming here. And we also have this is the lotus plant. So it's like I think you're going to start to see seeds of change are finally turning are finally blossoming. Okay, so you'll get that. That doesn't necessarily mean that there won't be challenging moments this week. So, it's like, don't come at me and be like, you said it was going to be an awesome week. Why is this hard? There is definitely going to be some challenging energy with the Saturn squares. But like I said, it's kind of like going in front of a professor. If you have like an exam and you have that one professor who's really hard and then the one professor who's cheering you on, that's going to be your Saturn and that's going to be your Jupiter. This one may make the exam very difficult, and this one's going to remind you at the end of the exam that, hey, you actually did great. So that's kind of what's going on in the stars. These cards are very optimistic and very encouraging. So, we should be happy with that. That said, let's flip these over. Here's this one. What does my instinct say? What should I do next? Okay, so that's for people who don't know what their next, it's like you may be getting clues that there is a pattern broken, but you don't necessarily know what your next step is. This invites you to listen to your intuition most of all. I'm being led to talk about that book. I don't know I think it's called The Artist's Way. And they talk about morning pages that if you ask yourself, like you wake up first thing in the morning, before you do anything else, you just sort of free write for 3 to 5 minutes. I will tell you that the free writing for me has been an amazing tool. The company that I'm working on building right now actually came to me that way a few years ago. And it's been evolving into a different shape over time, but the initial seed for that idea came through free writing. So if this is your card, if you're having any confusion on what your next step is, find or whatever you're more comfortable with, tapping into your intuition. Something will be in there that holds your answer. Okay, let's turn this one over. What is my gift to the world? That is your question. So if you're trying to figure, and these are all kind of like, what are my next step things? If you're having a hard time figuring this out, I find if you make a list of things that you absolutely love to do, like things that are not chores, cooking, writing, I don't know, coding, like things that bring you tremendous amounts of joy. Oh, and that's interesting that they're like related to the cards. Letting go. What do I do next? What is my gift in the world? The answer is what brings you joy. So if you're looking for what you're bringing to the table, the answer is going to be in that which brings you joy. Okay, and then let's turn this one around. Who or what defines the contents of my life? This is so interesting. I love this. So if you picked this card, I would offer that there may be a situation of past conditioning that's been keeping you in cyclical behavior, and you may find if you've adopted other people's rules or expectations, if you've been living according to other people's expectations and you feel that that's been keeping you going in circles, the question is then, what and this is the question that Jupiter has been asking, and we'll come through also that Jupiter-Neptune square, is what belongs to you? Out of all of this sort of patterned behavior, what are the things that belong to you? And I would say also here, you want to find, like, in that looking what belongs to you, what brings you joy. And where can you let go of other people's expectations for you? So I know it's a little bit different than I usually do, but I do what I'm told. Hope this was helpful, and I will see you again next week. Take care.